I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied.
To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 Good afternoon. We are here at the UCHSI, the Ultimate National High School Invitational Tournament here in Ajax, Ontario at the Ajax Community Centre. My name is Sanjay Parker. I'm going to be one of your commentators today alongside the legendary May Nguyen.
Hi, I'm May. It's so awesome to be here today. I'm super thankful to have the privilege to be playing at this, I mean commentating these amazing games so far. The games so far have been absolutely electric, so.
Yeah, we've been really treated to some fantastic games, agreed, so far today, May. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors for the day, BE Ultimate, fantastic branding, fantastic merch, and Discraft, supplying all the discs that we're playing with here today.
Awesome. And we also would love to acknowledge the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas, more specifically the Mississaugas of Scugog Island, First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaty of 1923.
And lastly, we want to give a shout out to some of the staff that we're working with here. We got our director, Sarah. Sorry, that's the game start horn. Sarah Eady, our director. We also have our camera ops, Mika Young and Jacob Bick. We've got our competition director, Ben Klar, and most importantly, the event manager, Leanne Leduc. Now, today we've got an exciting game between Adam Scott and Kelvin. Now, I know, May, you are moving to Winnipeg shortly. In fact, you delayed your move just to be here today. And so you've got a little bit of bias, but I know you're a professional. You're going to remain unbiased in this game. But you do know this team, Kelvin, quite well. That's correct, right?
Yes. So actually the coaching staff today, Heidi House, Cam Tramley, and Miles Rytrera, I actually know them very well. Heidi's son, Max House, plays on PBHG with me, as well as Miles and Cam being my teammate. Actually, Miles was not my teammate last year. It feels like he was my teammate because he played on a recent fours team with me.
That's just chemistry right there.
Yeah. And
love that for you guys.
The previous club season, I played with Cam as well.
And what do we know about this Kelvin team, that team itself?
Kelvin is the reigning champ from last year, so we're expecting a very strong turnout from them with a lot of alumni returning. We have a captain, Liam Howes, who is the younger brother of my teammate and the son of Heidi Howes, the coach currently, and some super strong female matching players. In particular, we have Sylvie Klassen, who's a staple. I got to watch her at the C4 UC tournament in the junior division this year, where she just had some electric layout Ds and clutch grabs in the end zone in the sky. So excited to see a little bit of that on this windy day, especially today.
And I don't want to take anything away from Adam Scott, who in their own right are a very, very good high school team that we have here. What do we know about Adam Scott?
So Adam Scott is from the Peterborough area, I believe. And sorry,
I'm not seeing one.
They are looking for a game disc currently, but more on Adam Scott. Adam Scott won OFSA in 2022, and they attended the UCHSI last year and they're currently coming into this game seeded 8th overall, but they had some very strong performances against the same teams Kelvin played this morning. They both had games against the North Bay High Schools and I believe the other team they played was...
We'll find out and get back to you. But if I'm hearing you right, May, you're saying that both teams are undefeated so far today, 2-0.
Yes, and both the teams had gone to 13 points each against these both of the other teams that they played in their pool. And I believe North Bay only scored 1 or 2 on both of these teams. So.
Wow. So not only a strong offense, but what we're expecting is a really strong defense. All right, here we are. Adam Scott have the disc in light. They are moving the disc up really well, just taking the easy options. And while Kelvin are seemingly putting some sort of zone on the field, no, it was just...
They've transitioned to a melt now, I believe.
Yeah, so they're transitioned to a one-on-one matchup. Oh, Hammer, he tried to push it up when we do have a crosswind coming towards the cameras. And so a hammer like that is going to dip. It's tough. Oh, so Adam Scott have dropped a zone right on this first point. What do you think of that, May?
I think it's a smart play to head into a zone right on the Kelvin end zone line. But as you can see here, the female matching players are doing lots of work against this zone. As I said earlier, we can expect some very strong throwers on this backfield from Kelvin.
That's not uncommon because you want some height in the end zone and in the midfield so that when they pop the disc up, you have them there. Kelvin's doing a great job of just keeping the disc, not forcing anything, looking for these easy throws, and then trying to throw in between. Great defense there by Adam Scott by 53. Abby Jacobs, she ran through, but it looks like Kelvin are calling a foul. I believe that's Charlie Ormiston, who is calling a foul there. What I like about this call is that it's not, I'm going to be honest, I don't see a lot of males calling fouls on female players, and I'm really glad that he feels that this is a safe space to do that. And it's great spirit, so it's a contested, thank you. Contested throw, so it has gone back to the thrower. Great play there by 27 from Kelvin. Kate Horn is really just moving that disc well.
Sylvie Klassen is just working that middle, putting on a show. Great decision making. Making some risky throws through the middle, but they're greatly executed.
Oh, and a shot by Kelvin, and unfortunately it was just too far and they weren't able to catch that and execute what was a really nice amount of possession there. What I liked about that, May, was I liked how many people were coming back into that handler zone and moving that disc. When you play zone against a zone, do you prefer to have specific people always there, or are you okay being flexible like Kelvin just did?
I think it's great to have a lot of flexibility on where players play and what positions they're playing in. It looks like Kelvin's doing a great job. There's lots of people moving in and out. You can see Howe's there being a cutter and a popper, and also in the backfield on the wings. So it's good to have some diversity to make the defense change it up a little.
I'm not surprised to see that both these teams had high offensive scores in that first game. They're both really moving the disc well and attacking the easy options.
They're just making these throws look easy in this wind. Like, the audience may be fooled right now.
Oh, commentator's curse right there, hey, May? As soon as we say they're doing something well, it's going to be a turnover. 19 with the disc on that open side. Coach is calling a melt, which means we're going to see White transition to a one-on-one defensive scheme. We've got the disc in the middle of the field. Not an obvious stack. In fact, it's quite messy. And again, Kelvin does such a great job moving it to the end zone, and they just throw it over. Is that wind, May? Is that excitement being in the end zone, or why is that happening?
I think when teams are moving it up that fast, it's hard to slow down in the end zone, to be honest. I think even at the adult level, a lot of teams will just turn it over right on their own end zone line. So hopefully we see Kelvin tighten it up a little bit and show some good end zone offense, because they're great at moving it up the field.
Great inside throw there to start the possession for Adam Scott. Throw into that open side. Nice bid there,
And
too.
Sylvie Klassen there.
Oh, and
she
there we go.
goes.
3 for Kelvin. That's Charlie Ormanston again getting that D. Long point here to start this game. 36 has it in the middle of the field, throwing up to 81. 81 finally punches it in, and that is a goal for Kelvin. Nice play there, Kelvin. 3 times they came close, and it finally took that 3rd time to get it in. What was the difference for you for that 3rd point, just to get it in that end zone?
I think the disc movement had slowed down. I mean, Sylvie got right up in there, made some great decisions, swung the disc all the way to the other side. Oh, pardon me. And it was it seemed like a lot smoother of using the lateral space of the field rather than just punching it in up the line.
I mean, something that you and I were talking about before the game is we've been really impressed by the overall technique of all these high school players out here on the field, as you just mentioned, throwing against wind and just the overall throwing, reading of the disc and stuff like that. One thing I think is always tough at the high school level is decision making, and that's been evident just in this first point so far, not only in throwing away just in front of the end zone, but also keeping the disc and not throwing crazy hucks. Ultimately, I think that it's going to be the team that has the best decision making will be the team that wins. Do you generally agree with that, or do you think it comes down to other things outside of just those factors?
I think sometimes it does come to athleticism, but I don't think either of these teams from the looks of it are any short of that. So I think it will come down to decision making in this game in particular. It looks like Kelvin has some great decision making thus far. Just even with the way that they fake with the disc, you can tell that they know what's going on, what cuts to expect, and have played a high level.
First offensive point here for Adam Scott. Kelvin's starting with a zone against Adam Scott, seeing what they can do against this.
Big zone right here.
Kelvin's doing a good job, just being chill, trying to force Adam Scott into a mistake, but it looks like they bit into that a little too much, and now Adam Scott have an opportunity to shoot, and it just doesn't turn out, unfortunately. What was wrong with that throw there, May?
I didn't see exactly what was going on. I was really more paying attention to the backfield there, trying to see what kind of zone Kelvin was throwing on. I think it was maybe a 2-3-2 or either a 2-4-1. One of the two, where they just have 2 in the backfield. I think Adam Scott would do well to just swing the disc when there's only 2 there, but athletic play by number 43 there in the deep space. That is
Liam Masters.
Liam Masters.
He masters that aerial space, is what I've heard. Tons of bobbles there. Sorry for Adam Scott. They tried to keep it. Unfortunately, they couldn't do it. What's interesting, we're seeing a lot of zone by both teams at the start of this game. I don't think that's a lack of athleticism and teams' fear of their capacity to keep up athletically. I think it's more of a way to prevent the offense of doing exactly what they want to be doing. Nice bid there by Kelvin. They have the disc 2/3 up the middle of the field now, right in the middle. Reversing play really well there. Bekta has the disc, alternating with Mateus Froze, and they put it in. Nice bid there by Keith McCaffrey. Keith McCaffrey is one of the names we talked about pre-game. What can you tell me about Keith?
On Keith McCaffrey on
Well, I know that he's been playing for a while, and I know that he's one of the guys that this team really looks for to punch it in the end zone. That's a 2-0 start from Kelvin. Adam Scott's going to be looking to start this on offense again and really make sure that they hold on to that disc. Kelvin pulling here, and what we're seeing is it's another female dominant line, which means that we're playing 4 women and 3 men. Now, in that case, that means that a female has to do the initial pull. Why is that, May?
Whatever gender is the dominant gender of the gender ratio at the time will be the pulling gender, so that there's an equal amount of pulling between both.
That's great. We do love equity in this sport, don't we, May? Are you a puller?
Sometimes I pull on my team, but I'm shy.
You're shy?
I'm a little bit shy.
But at PPHG, when you play this summer, are you going to be pulling?
I don't know. We've got some cannons on our team. We got Jenny Herms. I expect that she'll be pulling.
I was going to see if you wanted to give any shout-outs. Jenny Herms, eh? That's the girl?
Yeah. That's the...
That was a great pull. That was a great pull by Kelvin. All right, we got Masters on the disc. Nice eye communication.
I believe that's Natalie Keys with the disc in the middle there, number 50.
That's correct. Nice swinging. Great movement here by Adam Scott to start this possession. Kelvin's got a lot of people in the deep space and not a lot of people near the disc, giving Adam Scott a lot of easy passes right to the middle of the field. Adam Scott's doing a great job of breaking the mark. There's a shot up, and Masters does a great job of towing the line, keeping that disc in play. Well done. That's 2-1 or 1-2 for Adam Scott. Towing the line is a tricky part of the sport, May. What are some of the techniques that you always focus on when you're trying to do that?
If the disc is near the sideline, I think a lot of players do a good job of keeping that 1 foot up while looking down at the line. You also have to make sure that you're tracking down the disc at the same time and making sure that you're catching in the first place. We've seen some players look down at the line before they're done catching and just doink it off their hands. So it was a great focus play.
Doink it off, eh? That's tough.
Doink.
That's the worst thing. Whenever I doink the disc, I hate it. Well, I'm glad Adam Scott got a point. You always want to get a point early on the board. Even if you could go down a couple, you want to get on just to prove to yourself and to the rest of your team that you can score, right? Kelvin starting on offense again. This is exciting. Looking forward to what they can bring on this O-line. Oh, and here comes the pull, and Kelvin's got the disc. They caught the disc, and they've already got 2 passes before that Adam Scott D-line can get all the way down. Adam Scott coming again in a zone, a pretty traditional 3-3-1 zone. Maybe for the people at home who don't play a lot of Ultimate, you can see that you have 3 people kind of around the disc here. Why are they doing that? What's the goal of what we call a cup in Ultimate?
So the cup here in Ultimate is meant to stop those big shots by having people immediately in front of the disc, but unfortunately Adam Scott was not able to stop that over the top.
I thought Kelvin did a really good job of just moving through the cup and making that cup really tired, really hard to track. Oh!
Incredible play yet again by, I believe we had spoken about him before.
Yes, I believe that was Masters again. He's really been mastering that airspace. Okay, I already made that joke once. I won't do it again, I promise.
You can see him sticking his tongue out on that missed throw there.
You can hear the Kelvin sideline yelling at them to chill, to take their time, take their possession. And when they do, you can see why they're doing it. It's because they've got such great throwing diversity. That was great defensive play by 39.
Jack Bellingham.
Masters on the side here with the disc. Tough place to pick up the disc. Cross field, and he just isn't able to keep it. Instead, 36 Guts has the disc.
Sylvie Klassen again. Here she is, dominating that offense, and a beautiful break throw. Just float that out into the...
Looks like there might be a call on the field. Nope, the call is a goal. That's the best kind of call that we like to see out here. Great play by Sylvie Klassen. What can you tell me about Sylvie?
Well, Sylvie's just an incredible player. We already saw her have an attempt at a layout D inches away from the disc early on in the game. but I believe she is only in grade 10 and is a female matching handler that just absolutely dominates the field there.
Good for her. That's 3-1 up for Kelvin. Sorry for the wind here, folks. I know you're picking up a little bit of that in our mics. It's just a windy day. There's not a whole lot we can do, unfortunately.
See Emma Robertson throwing the disc with her coach, Miles Reichera there, getting her hot and her hands warm for the game. I'm surprised to see some of these players in t-shirts and shorts. I'm not going to lie. Like, I am freezing out here, so...
Well, the adrenaline of being young, right, May?
Right.
Who can get cold when you're busy looking good? All right, we've got a pull coming in from Kelvin to Adam Scott. Adam Scott with another offensive point. This is a big point. I mean, if they can bring it back to 3-2, it's a tight game. If they go down 4-1, that begins to be a little bit of a hill for them to climb. 45's picking up the disc for Adam Scott. That's Sam Knightley.
It's a great pull by Kelvin to be halfway into the other team's end zone there. They've got a bit of crosswind to help them there on that, the angle of the pull, but...
High throw from Adam Scott, and it goes over everybody and lands in the hands of one of the Adam Scott women. Great focus from her. I think the communication on field by Adam Scott is really strong. They're really communicating what they want and where they want it. We got the disc here on the open side. Not a lot of options that 39's liking. And there is a turnover. There's a down call, and it's a turnover, so it doesn't matter. Call retracted. 98's picking up the disc for Kelvin.
Reichera.
Swing it to the middle.
The younger brother of the coach, actually, Miles Reichera. It's a family affair here at Kelvin. Howes and Reichera working it up the field. Get it to Keith McCaffrey again. And this is Emma Roberts at the disc.
Adam Scott are really struggling to maintain a strong force. It feels like Kelvin are able to throw on whatever side of the field they want. We've got someone open on the side. His mark's caught up to him. Kelvin's in that red zone, just by the end zone. Can they punch it in? And they do, but it's an unfortunate drop. Very tough. Have you ever dropped it in the end zone like that, May?
Oh, I sure have.
And when that happens, what goes through your head? Are you able to get through it?
I'm a bit of a goldfish where I can bounce back from an unfortunate drop like
you said
that.
A goldfish?
Yeah, like goldfish memory. You've never heard that?
Oh, okay. Like memory of a goldfish. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I bounce back. It's happened enough to me. Although I do find like really great players sometimes when something like that doesn't happen to them often, that can leave them a little bit shaken up.
It is tough for juniors to have to make mistakes because sometimes they don't always have the mentality yet. Wow, that was a lucky shot, went through a lot of players, and another high throw. And it just unfortunately goes over their heads. It was just too high up, and the wind took it. Kelvin's picking up the disc, middle of the end zone, swinging to the open side. Big shot up to 34. Can she make it? She gives a hand in the back of 46 for Adam Scott, but she isn't quite able to bring that down. That's okay. That was a long shot to her.
Fantastic chase down by both of those players, though.
Great rundown by Emma Robertson. Break throw. Disc is on the open side. Up the line. A lot of crowding around the disc. Dish off to 49. No one's getting open for her. Nice inside shot.
And just reaching with the underhand grab.
And
Adam
unfortunately,
Scott was able to reel that one in. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say, unfortunately, not quite enough height on that throw. But they're back to plan A. Take it from their end zone.
Oh.
Unfortunately, a miscommunication. Yes. All right. Adam Scott's picking up the disc in the red zone. This is probably something that coaches have had them practice a dozen times, right?
And a timeout is called.
And a timeout is called, just like they practiced. May, what are you hoping to see here from this end zone play from Adam Scott?
I'm hoping once they catch their breath, they can use the break side a little bit here. I expect Kelvin to be forcing it to the sideline, which is a typical force flick. Hopefully if they can get it to the other side and break these marks, they can punch it in on that break side.
What have you thought about Adam Scott's offense so far this game?
So far, it seems like there's pretty even, I guess they share the disc a lot. I haven't seen, in particular, any players be dominating the offense or playing in a takeover type style like we've seen in the earlier games today. So I think it goes to show both of these teams actually seem to be very deep, in my opinion, where they can trust a lot of players to handle the disc well.
Yeah, and I think that's what a good team at the high school level typically does. You have that depth of technique and throwing ability. What I haven't seen a lot of so far is really amazing defensive work. I think a lot of the turnovers have been due to offensive mistakes as opposed to defensive excellence. I wonder if that'll change throughout the game or if they won't need to because of the wins that we're facing. 45 for Adam Scott's about to pick up Sam Knightley. Or Kitely, maybe? I'm going to say Kitely. Sorry if I'm getting your name wrong there, Sam. Kitely's on the disc. Let's see what they've planned out here. And a great defensive play there by 34.
Rebecca Bieber, perhaps? No, Emma Robertson, my mistake.
Kelvin had the disc. Look at that flow through that field.
House and Raichura back at it again on this Kelvin backfield. And House launching it.
Deep shot,
to
but
an
46.
Adam Scott defender.
Not a problem for 46. Easy for him to bring that down. Will Halloran. This is another long point in this game, May.
Yes, we've already had a timeout.
Yes. Is that because of wind? Is it because of offensive decision making? Why is this taking so long?
I feel like it's one of those things that I like to call like boiling point offense, where you've swung it enough that you feel like there should be some sort of release valve and the water just boils over and you start launching it. I think when you're at a junior level, sometimes
so lack of patience is what I'm hearing.
You have a bit of a lack of patience, yeah.
Well, it's like we already talked about. This game could come down to whoever has more patience on offense. Adam Scott are keeping the disc right now. And there's a huge bid by 88 from Kelvin.
Oh, that's a house.
Swung around, and now they are keeping the disc. We talked about wanting some defensive excellence. That's what I meant. That was great by 88.
I can't believe I missed that. I was actually not looking at him when he did that. There's, I believe, Emma Robertson again with the disc.
Nice swing by Emma Robertson, keeping that disc well. Clearly a key player for Kelvin. And around by Howes.
I think
well kept.
Step outs by Kelvin are fantastic to get around the mark. Just great deep lunges and a veteran play from Liam Howes to call a timeout there.
Veteran play by Liam Howes. Great point by him. He did that. Now, why would you call a timeout in this position? It looks like they have all the possession with them, May.
I mean, he called it early in the stall count, so they have like almost probably all 10 stalls for them to set up a play from static with the disc in the middle of the field. Really great setup for Kelvin. It's looking pretty good.
So they would set this up because they know that this is an important moment and this is where they could score.
Yeah. And also to probably get the I'm not sure the word for it, but like the jitters out. Slow down the game a bit. let everyone catch their breath and play a good, strong offense instead of trying to punch it in.
So if you're on defense here, if you're Adam Scott, what are you telling them? What are you telling your team to not let Kelvin score right here?
First, I would say to watch those around breaks. So far, I haven't seen a ton of inside breaks from Kelvin, and I like to think make a team do something they're not comfortable with just to put some defensive pressure on it. It looks like they're super comfortable with those step out around backhand breaks, so make them do something different. If they're forcing backhand right now, it looks like perhaps they are. That would be a point to say, let's make them do something different. But I see that they are, in fact, forcing backhand. I like this.
Active mark by here. Great
coaching play here.
Change the mark up.
As you can see, the reset handler was set up on a difficult side of the disc. So it was high pressure reset there.
Easy break there. And a turnover. Well done by Adam Scott. As you said, good possession. And a huck out of there just to clear that disc. And it just go over their head again, unfortunately.
It seems like the wind is gusting just away from the camera at this point. It looks like it's going over a lot of players' heads in that direction.
Kelvin had the disc at midway through the field, attacking that break side. Trying to dish it up. Kelvin brings it down. Is it a goal? Is it in? Looks like it's called not in yet, but he picks it up, runs it to the line, and dishes it to Eber Robertson for a quick score.
Liam House is just putting on a show, taking over this offense.
May, so far, I'm really liking what Adam Scott are bringing to the table defensively. They're not giving Kelvin a lot of easy options, but whenever they get the disc on offense, it looks like they're just hucking and throwing it away. What would you like to see them do differently for the rest of this first half?
I would like to see a lot more lateral movement the way that we've been seeing Kelvin move it back and forth on the field. I think that requires a lot of players being comfortable with the disc. So changing that attack angle will be good for Adam Scott rather than just attacking it with unders and deeps as we've been seeing from them.
It's a tough tournament because, especially for teams from smaller regions, like both these teams, where you don't have as much competition. You can beat a lot of teams by just having better players and more height. When you come to a tournament like this and everyone's tall, everyone knows how to throw, it comes a lot more down to strategy, and more importantly, it comes down to grit.
Right. We've seen some great strategy from Adam Scott, though. Off that timeout call, they did throw on that backhand force, like I said. I would have liked to see, and they did exactly that, so. I also would have liked Adam Scott to recognize that was a match defense, I believe, very quickly, but they had an offensive zone, or like a zone offense set up there briefly.
2 turnovers before we've had a chance to mention them. Masters picks up the disc.
As you can see, the cutters are very spread out on Adam Scott, not setting up in a match offense.
Just aren't able to bring it back down. Kelvin's got the disc, dishing it, just taking the easy throws. Anytime they see someone open, they just throw to that person, even if it's sideways or backwards. And they're able to find a lot of holes in this Adam Scott defense.
I apologize for the screen.
That was a great bid by 79 for Kelvin. She wasn't or 19, sorry, I should say, Maeve Hemmerling, unable to come down with it, but great bid. Nice work by her. Masters got the disc just in front of the end zone. This is a tough place for him to be. Throws it to the middle of the field to 53. She is struggling to find anyone to get it open, and she does what the previous person just did, which is just throw it up high to Masters. He's just a foot taller than anyone else on this field.
incredible athletic ability from Masters, just pancaking it over top of some players' heads. And again, they are just
unable to come with that one, though. Just a bit too high. Even height has a limit sometimes, right, May?
Yes, I think a lot of teams fall victim to this, where they're used to playing offense against their own team. You practice the most and play against the most against your own players, if that makes sense. So seeing as Adam Scott typically runs a zone on a turn every single time, it looks like their offense is also setting up offensively
in a zone,
as if there's going to be a zone on them, even though this is match defense.
That can result in a bit of crowding, and that's what happened just then. Too many people around the disc, and it made a turnover again for Adam Scott. Looks like we have a call on the field, though. Is that a strip, May, or a foul?
I believe that was a stall down call that was uncontested. It looks like number 50, Natalie Keys, again, and Sylvie Klassen handshaking over the call, agreeing on it, and a great defensive read by Natalie Keys there.
Sometimes just after you lose the disc is when you're most motivated to get it back. 42 has the disc for Adam Scott. Trying to look for that shot. Big throw by him. Oh, and unfortunately he's just not able to come down with it. Running backwards is tricky, May.
He did change his angle of attack there, showing that he could read the disc quite well, but unfortunately just tripped over his own feet.
Adam Scott setting up in his zone again. Kelvin's in a tricky place just in front of their end zone right here. Nice little dish to 27 just in front of that cup. Kelvin dish backward and unable to swing across the whole field, giving them a tons of time before the cup's able to reassert their space.
And it looks like Kelvin has moved it back across the field twice or three times now, showing how comfortable they are moving it laterally.
Nice goober by Kelvin to get that disc over, and they're really focusing on those around and then throwing through the cup when that cup gets tired. That's how you beat a zone. Kelvin's got the disc in the middle of the field, swings to the open side, back to the middle, just dishing it back and forth. Everyone can touch the disc. Open side, someone fell over, and there goes the big throw. Can he come down with it, or is he gonna go at the back? He comes down with it. Nice defensive.
Observer is signaling in, so that is a goal.
Nice defensive work by 40 on Adam Scott, trying to make a play there despite the height mismatch. Really great offensive play there by Kelvin against that zone. What did you like about what they were doing?
It looked like Kelvin was super comfortable just threading it through the spaces in the zone. It looked like they all play together seamlessly and have that chemistry where they know a throw is coming up when it's coming. And I also really liked how the player who had scored just now was calling for the disc wildly just before the throw went up. So we all knew he was open, he felt he was open, and the thrower trusted that he could get it to him.
Score is now 5-1. Kelvin's coming out strong in this first half, really showing the offensive dominance that makes sense given that the last two games were 13-2 and 13-1. If you're the coach for Adam Scott, what are you hoping to see them try and change up?
I think the first thing as a coach is, asking my players to recognize what kind of defense is on us right now and what the best course of action, I suppose, if they run a vert, if they run a hoe, what they default to on a match offense versus a zone offense.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Adam Scott can keep this point here. They're going to be starting on offense here. Doesn't look like they're rotating many people from their offensive lines to their defensive lines. Looks like who we typically expect on their offensive line here. Masters with the disc in the middle of the field, swinging to the open side.
Natalie Keys again on the sideline.
Nice grab there. Still on the open side.
See if they can get it to the brick side.
Masters has it.
Right behind the disc. Again, up the open side. Up the open sideline again.
Just punching it down that line.
Oh my!
Great bid there by Adam Scott to keep that disc in play. Really well done. And then a break side throw. Someone able to get there? Yes. But 88 Howes, great bid to make that turnover. Otherwise, I think Adam Scott would have kept position there. Now Kelvin have the disc again, and when they just get the disc, I just don't feel like they're going to throw it away. They have such a nice way of keeping momentum and taking those easy throws. Kelvin on that break side, throwing around that Adam Scott zone like they aren't even there. Commentator's curse. They threw something that was a bit too hard into the wind and got that turnover.
Well, in that cup, we have some feisty defenders on Adam Scott with Bryn Milt and Natalie Keys just eating up that backfield.
Masters with the disc. Unfortunate bobble there by 49 for Adam Scott.
Bryn Milt with her hands on her head, having just made an incredible layout catch. I apologize to the audience. I screamed, "Oh my!"
It's hard not to get excited about a game with this much quality at this age. Oh, great foot block.
Incredible.
The thing is that Kelvin's moving the disc so well that it's almost hard to observe the amazing defensive plays that Adam Scott are making. You know, this is a great zone. They're well practiced, but there's just not a lot of opportunities to make defensive plays.
Stack is too far! Stack is too far!
Big jump there by Natalie Keys by Adam Scott, but she isn't able to bring it down. Now Kelvin have the disc in what I would call a red zone here. They're setting up their end zone offense. Looks like Howes is activated. Comes back, swings the disc, and now he's here on the break side. Great play.
Hitting the typical Howes Scott flick that I've seen many, many times now.
That was really mature offensive end zone play. That puts Kelvin up 6-1 going into halftime. If they reach 7, it will be halftime, even though that's quite early, I believe. There were some great defensive plays there by Adam Scott in that possession. They just weren't able to hold it in offense. But what were some of the defensive plays from that last point that really stood out to you?
I'm not sure that I noticed many defensive plays, unfortunately. Not that I can remember in particular. I'm still imagining Bryn Milt's layout grab in the middle of the field here right in front of us. So
that was something. She's really been super athletic so far this game, jumping even when the disc doesn't really look like it's anywhere within her responsibility to keep a hold of. She's still coming down with it. It's really something else. The athleticism of high schoolers, man, let me tell you. To be that young.
We've already seen how many layouts so far, and I can't remember anyone knowing how to lay out when I played in high school last. So this
That's
is
why we weren't
incredible
invited to this invitational.
That is incredibly true.
Adam Scott with the disc here, looking to get a hold for their first time in a little while.
No unders, Lex.
Throws to the middle, but that throw's just a little too low. Kelvin have it in the red zone. If they could put this in, that will be halftime. Swings to the middle, keeping possession. Break side throw. Dish to the middle. 73 for Kelvin is clearly one of their main handlers. Very comfortable in the disc, comfortable clearing space too. Here they are, just a couple feet away. Open throw, and they lock it in. 36 to tie to get that score for Kelvin, and I believe that is halftime. It is halftime, confirmed.
A very dominant half for Kelvin.
Very dominant half by Kelvin. We're going to switch to halftime in a moment, but we just want to say thanks again to our sponsors.
BE Ultimate and Discraft for providing the merchandise and the discs for our tournament this weekend.
And that's it for us now. We're going to take a quick break. Halftime is 7 minutes, and we'll see you after that. And we're back for the second half. May, it's not quite as close of a game as perhaps we were thinking it might be before. But that's not a negative on Adam Scott. It's really just one of those things that Kelvin's offense is so hard to stop regardless of the age group. What are you looking for from Kelvin to prove that they are going to win this tournament for the second year in a row in the second half?
Looks like Adam Scott is putting on a zone again, so hopefully Kelvin keeps using the same lateral offense that they've been using for the entire rest of the game. And you can hear the coach from Adam Scott telling the cup to spread out wider to stop these lateral looks, but
and great defensive play there by Adam Scott. They clearly talked about that at halftime. Their zone was a lot stronger, forcing that turnover here.
And it sounds like a lot of sideline support from their coaches here as well.
Miscommunication there from Adam Scott resulted in some contact. They kept the disc, but then threw it away just in front of that end zone. That's tough. All that work, and then a throwaway is a tough one to get over. Kelvin swing the disc to the other side of the field. Oh, and almost a Callahan there by Adam Scott. By Natalie Keys. A dish over into that open side, and it is a goal for Adam Scott to start this second half.
Great plays by Natalie Keys there to recognize the open player, even though there are a ton of Kelvin players right in front of her. See the vision on the field from her there.
I want to give a shout out to our very own Emily Zhang, who's here supporting the production team today in a variety of roles. She wasn't mentioned at the beginning of the game, but she is an integral part of this team. Adam Scott's going to be pulling now. Kelvin on offense. That was a break by Adam Scott. What is a break in Ultimate, May, for the people at home?
So a break in Ultimate is when the team starting on defense gets a turn and regains possession to score once again against the line that originally started on offense for the start of the point.
Got you. So it sounds like Adam Scott's going to need several more of those in order to catch up this game.
Yes, they will need about 5 more.
They can do
if
it.
My math is correct.
I believe in them, May. Where are you at with these pink jerseys that Kelvin's wearing?
I'm a big fan of pink jerseys. I think in the past, Ultimate has been like, your light needs to be white and your dark needs to be dark. And these are kind of bordering in between a light and a dark, but unless you're, maybe it could cause some problems for color blindness, but I think the color is distinct enough to make it a nice color jersey.
The waves at the bottom of the design is really something nice. Look at this Kelvin team just swinging it through the field. Really nice. They've got 4 handlers back, and they're just focused on keeping possession and then trying to find the cracks in the cup to find the other 2 Kelvin midfield women like they just did.
Sanjay and I were talking about this during the halftime, that unless Adam Scott can stop these low release throws that seem too quick for the Adam Scott defense to catch up to, then they're really not going to have a chance during this end zone line offense.
And there we go. That was really great possession by Kelvin. And they punch it in. Oh, it looks like it's not quite in yet. And now it's in? No, it looks like it's out of bounds, unfortunately. He was too close to the line and ran it out. That is a tough turn for Kelvin, but it gives Adam Scott a chance to pick up that disc. Adam Scott gets to walk it to the front of the end zone.
Adam Scott seems to be running a vertical offense here, showing their recognition of this defense that's being thrown on them this half. So I'm excited to see what happens here.
Big bladey throw, and your boy House comes down with it. House picking up on that break side, swings to the open,
to Sylvia.
36 also has the disc. She's been really clean with it all day. That was 4 passes to swing right across that whole field. What I like a lot about how House plays is he looks like he's going in one direction and then he completely changes direction, changing the direction of flow.
On both his throws and his cutting, he seems to be able to get very low to be explosive in a change of direction and also explosive on his pivots to garner some momentum on his break throws there. It was great inside break by number 27 there.
Really a fantastic throw. What do you like about that inside throw that she just did?
It had a very interesting shape on it, to be honest. It had, normally that's like an inside lane type of throw, but had a bit of an outside in shape to it.
If you were coaching a team, May, what percentage of goals would you want a team to be scoring when they're in the red zone? Like 100% is ideal, but what would you expect from a coach coaching a high school team? How many chances do you expect for them to get before they score?
I mean, Kelvin did a great job. What was that? Was chance 1?
I think that was chance 2 or maybe 3 in the whole point.
I think at this level, that's a great percentage.
That's great.
Given the offense that we've seen earlier this morning, a lot of huck and pin games, so it's very refreshing to see that they are just punching in the first 1 to 2 chances. It's been a decently low turnover compared to other games. Turnover rate, sorry, compared to other games. So,
Huck and pin, can you break down that strategy for the people at home?
So for the people at home, huck and pin, typically if you aren't super comfortable making a ton of passes back and forth like Kelvin seems to be comfortable with, huck and pin means you essentially huck it to the other opponent's end zone and then pin it down there. Masters again with the aggressive catch.
Okay, let's get there and set.
And just to clarify, a huck is a big throw or a long throw, and then pinning it is really just using defense to make sure that they can't work up the field and getting another turnover around their end zone.
Thank you, Sanjay, for
Of
the
course.
clarification.
So that was an
description
example.
was not great.
Masters hucked it down. Kelvin turned it over just in front of the end zone, and now Adam Scott again have the disc just in front of the end zone. Scuba over the top, unable to collect it though, unfortunately. Nice look though by 42.
I believe 42 has thrown his second scuba now. Liam McVici.
Big throw by 81, but is there really any question that Masters is going to come down with it? We're not even going to try at this point. 42 has it, swings it to the middle of the field. 46 is completely unmarked. Let's see what he can do with this capacity right now. Gets it up line. Oh, and he turns it over. That is unfortunate. Bad luck. Looking for a big throw. They send it deep.
It looks like this Kelvin D-line is also playing a bit of a huck and pin.
Masters with the disc in the middle of the field. Throws it to the open side. Looks like this line's getting a little tired. Perhaps these people have been on the field a lot today, but they aren't moving at quite the speed they were earlier. Masters trying to get position. Isn't quite able to get there. Clap catch in the air is pretty astounding that he's come down with so many of those. 36 is picking it up for Kelvin.
See a zone yet again here from Adam Scott. I think Adam Scott's done a really great job of just getting under the disc whenever it's been a sky ball, I suppose, in the air. Ooh.
Nice D by 54 by Adam Scott. Adam Scott again have it in the red zone. Can they punch it in now? Not a lot of people in the end zone. In fact, everyone's out of the end zone. It's an interesting strategy I've never seen before.
Oh,
timeout called. Maybe it wasn't a strategy. Maybe it was just a simple miscommunication. Regardless, we are at a timeout now. Adam Scott have the disc maybe a yard away from the end zone and bringing another break that we talked about earlier back onto the scoreboard.
I'm very happy with these timeouts on the end zone line being called. We didn't see a lot of that before, but it seems both teams are pulling them all out just to ensure a score and have some coaching adjustments in between the point.
Some teams prefer not to call timeouts in front of the end zone because they don't want the defense a chance to set up. But I think you're right. In that situation, everyone had already set up. There was no movement. Let's just get it exactly how we want. Do you have a preferred end zone play that you like to do when you're playing?
I mean, every single team I've played on, at least, has played like a vertical stack in the end zone, front of the stack cuts, or we'll run like a pull, like something similar to a pull play. I suppose once it's static, but typical vert stack.
So the last time we saw a timeout in front of the end zone, Kelvin had the disc, and Adam changed their force, throwing a little bit of a curveball. Let's see if Kelvin throws any sort of curveball to Adam Scott as they set up their defensive.
Very interesting with 3 players behind the disc here and 3 players in front of the disc.
Go for the tried and true. Send it up to the big man.
Can't teach tall, so they say.
Big throw there.
Bringing the score to 8-3, I believe.
Looks like that line is going to stay on again. What are some of the benefits and the negatives of having the same line stay on for multiple points? If you have like a defined O-line that stays on.
Well, a lot of the benefit comes from likely having a lot of chemistry between the players that are staying on if they've played on a lot together, if they're your quote-unquote star players. But also having the same players go out over and over again can definitely be a shot to the stamina of all of the players. So we'll see if these players can keep up. It looks like Masters is not on the line again.
It looks like while we were talking they did change up that line,
yeah.
But that's okay. All right, so Adam Scott's going to throw down their pull to Kelvin. I wouldn't be surprised to see Adam Scott throw another zone out here. They seem really eager to throw zones, and that's like their main style of gameplay today. Next pull by Adam Scott. It's in, which means that Kelvin will have to take it from the sideline. Oh, but Adam Scott were offside when they threw it, which means that Kelvin get to walk it up to halfway.
Offside is when the players are over the end zone line upon a pull and cross that threshold. They all have to be behind the line once the pull is released. So it seems that Adam Scott was not behind the line. Right over the top shot.
Great blade to that open side.
73.
And she's a yard from that end zone. Almost in. Great dish. And then a little lefty backhand.
I believe Matthias Froese is throwing ambidextrously. Am I correct in that?
Ambidextrous is definitely the word. We'll have to keep a track on that for the rest of the game. That's a tough way to beat a zone for that zone. It's emotionally difficult to come back from that. The benches are cold. There's not a lot of activity on the benches from either team. Not a lot of engagement at this point in the game. Unfortunately, it's tough if you're not playing. It's hard to stay warm without having to come off. And as you mentioned earlier, May, a lot of these folks are in t-shirts and shorts. It's not quite the weather for that.
Yes, it looks like the Adam Scott bench is looking quite chilly as I see many of their players are actually sitting down, all huddling together, while Kelvin seems to be mostly standing up.
Adam Scott waiting to receive their pull to start on offense. Yes, Kelvin does look a lot more energized on this sideline than Adam Scott is.
They have their players spread out along the sideline.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Here comes the pull. Nice pull. Adam Scott collected in the middle of the field. Centered to Samantha Keys. Over to that break side. Nice bid by Howe to try and get a finger on that disc. And it's not a turnover for him, but it is a turnover for Adam Scott. Adam Scott pick it up in their half of the field.
Or Kelvin pick it up.
Sorry, Kelvin pick it up in their half of the field. Sorry about that. Adam Scott are throwing a zone is what I meant to say. And another turnover from that midfield. Adam Scott's doing a good job of getting those midfielders engaged in the zone, resulting in turnovers. Threw up the line to that open side.
Natalie Keys with the disc.
Breakside throw, no look. Swing again, 39 has it in the middle of the field. Throw it into the open side. Up the line, and I believe that's a goal. That is a goal. Adam Scott have now equaled as many goals as they scored in the second half as they have in the first half. Well, it looks like there is a call in the field, but the observer is calling it a goal. Let's see what the controversy is about.
I believe the observers make the active in and out call, so even though a player on Kelvin has called the scoring player out on that play, the observer has already made an active ruling to call that a goal.
If it's a goal to you, it's a goal to me. So the game is to 19. The score is 9-4 for Kelvin. Kelvin needed another 4 goals or just the time cap to call this game. Do you think there's a chance that Adam Scott have a chance to come back in this game?
Well, it looks like Kelvin's let loose on the gas just a little bit. It looks like they're using a big part of their roster since they got the early lead, but I'm hoping they don't relax too much. I've seen too many teams fall victim to that, so hopefully they stay in this and don't let Adam Scott get the comeback here. Been letting loose on just a few of the fundamental things, like just letting go of that open side there.
Adam Scott with the pull here. Do we know who that is with the disc? Not yet, but we will tell you after she runs by.
I believe that's Bryn Miltz.
All right.
Unsure, but yep, that is Bryn
Nice
Miltz.
pull by Bryn Mills. Right to me.
Oh, and a great catch by Sanjay Parker.
Wow. All right, Becca starts with the disc in the middle of the field. You can see Adam Scott's cup is trying really hard to corral and prevent that easy round, but it is tough with an offense as mobile as this one. The cardio of this Adam Scott cup is really something to attest. Kelvin with the disc.
They've got 3 female matching players in the front of this zone here.
.36 and 15 are really just throwing that disc around in 81.
Thomas Airy and Zay Bekta are actually on the Sunday League team I'm going to play on.
That's an unfortunate turnover, just a little drop between the legs there. That does happen sometimes. Swing throw, and 81, I believe that's Becca.
Yeah,
He makes a turnover, and now he has it right in front of the end zone. Nice swing. Way to just keep possession, not force it in. And a nice, easy throw to that open side, giving the goal. Easy.
We're seeing cartwheels from Adam Scott from the players coming onto the line, hoping to keep warm.
It's tough. If you're not playing a lot right now, it's tough to stay warm.
And a handstand as well.
Especially in the shorts for some of these folks. I can't imagine right now what that would be like playing shorts. It'll be interesting to see if Kelvin start to rotate through their entire roster for the rest of this game. It looks like we're seeing some faces that I haven't seen too much of yet coming into these points just to get some fresh legs and give everyone some playing time. We're going to see a pull from number 4 from Kelvin, Camille
Jane?
That's her name. I did not know how to pronounce Jahne. That's on me. Sorry about that.
I'm not sure about that last name
It's
pronunciation.
Jane. It's Jane until we get told otherwise. It's Jane for now. Sorry, Camille, if that isn't your name. Sorry for the incorrect pronunciation. Looks like there's some sort of call on the field.
I believe this is another offside call.
Yes, it is offside. Masters gets to take it up from where the disc landed, and he gets to center it from halfway from the field.
This is an offside call twice now for both teams, I believe.
Adam's got it set up in a hoe stack, a horizontal stack across the field. This gives space in front and behind the stack, but not necessarily on the sides of the thrower. Great defensive play by Kelvin.
Matthias Froese comes down with it.
I think it would have been out of bounds anyways, but he did a really good job of holding his space and getting that disc, despite being surrounded by some people who were taller than him.
Again, with the lightning quick disc movement.
Turnover by Matthias. Unfortunate. Nice try to do a little blade over the top. It did not come out, though. 42 is picking up the disc for Adam Scott. Dish backwards. They're stuck a little bit on that open side. Let's see if they can swing it back into the midfield. When in doubt, just toss it up to Masters. Beautiful throw up the line. And it's a goal. Nice assist by Masters. Sometimes throwing to the big guy does work. Is there a call on the field? Nope, that's just a goal. Well played.
I like to see that from Adam Scott. They seem to be a very gritty team. Whenever something is contestable in the air, they just all seem to come up under it. There were two.
It's hilarious how many times it's worked today to just pop it up from Masters.
Yeah, it is quite hilarious. I know you keep making that joke about how he's mastering the deep space, but
what do you do when you have to mark up against someone who's significantly taller than you on the field, May? What are your tactics?
I believe it was Raichura that was on him before, if I'm not mistaken, but he was doing something I would do, which is, be as tight as possible so that I don't lose them, and maybe just face guard a little bit and hope that the person doesn't want to throw to them in that close of proximity to me.
Nice pull by Masters. Kelvin's picking up the disc. 2 throws before the Sam Adams defense has a chance to set up. Adam Scott, sorry.
No, Sarah. Here, Sarah. Here, Sarah.
Here we can see Hal's just pointing to the sky.
Take away 10. Back now.
Kelvin's doing a great job of swinging the disc. They aren't afraid to throw backwards, and that means that there's always someone open. 24 has the disc, popping up to House.
Sarah, wider. Watch 4-4.
Swung all the way to the other side. Very patient. Only throwing the easy options. That horn you just heard means that it is now soft cap, which means the game is 2-11. So Adam Scott just need to score 6 in a row to win this game. Let's see if they can start here. Nice attack, throws to the open side. Dish high up. Second chance, and she comes down with it. No one's open for her. Throws it to Masters in the middle of the field. Big throw up. Are they going to come down with it? Nope. Kelvin's able to put bodies in the way and make that defensive play. Adam Scott have set up in his zone with Masters in the middle of that zone. Turnover for Adam Scott. Adam Scott need to pick the time up if they're going to make the game before a hard cap comes in. Another huck put up. This time Masters is in the end zone.
Masters versus House.
But Masters was not able to get positioning, and House comes down with it. Swung to the open side. And again.
Emma Robertson has the disc. Gets it back to House. We'll see if he launches this one.
Big shot. Third time's the charm. Can the defense catch up? Adam Scott having it in the second half of the field. Big hammer. And great defensive block.
Number 40.
Masters comes all the way back to pick up the disc. May, do you think they're going to huck it, or are they going to try and work it up through a series of passes?
On their own end zone line, my bet is going to be a big huck play.
You were wrong. 50's got the disc. Throwing to 33. Nice grab. Dish to 46. And it's an unfortunate turnover. He just can't keep his hands on it. Probably too cold. House is picking it up. Swung to the middle of the field. A nice cut backwards by 34. Break side throw to House. Oh, huge bid, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. And Kelvin score. Big goal by 10 for Kelvin. That's Owen Robertson, and I believe that is game.
I think Adam Scott did a good job of keeping Kelvin to not score capping the game, so I think that was a good performance.
Well, a great game here between Adam Scott and Kelvin. I think Adam Scott can have their heads held high. They did better in the second half than their first. Kelvin's offense is really something to behold, and they've got a great shot to win this whole tournament. May, if you're Adam Scott, any parting remarks for them?
I'd say Adam Scott put up a great effort. I think the adjustments in game were great by their coach by adjusting that offense to the zone, to the match defense of Kelvin, and also making some good adjustments after timeout calls and whatnot. So great. Kudos to the coaching staff of Adam Scott.
Yeah, tough game to play, especially with the windy conditions really picking up. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors at Discraft and BE for creating some great content dedicated to the Ultimate Frisbee space. We're going to call it for this game, but we'll be back soon for our final stream game of the day. Thanks so much, May. We'll catch you soon.